Rakib, how would you describe the problem, and what solutions do you think there are to making this a country where people can walk the streets safely without thinking they're going to be caught up in the middle of a riot?
Well, we face some very serious challenges, Sir Jacob, when it comes to law and order. I think one of the big problems we have is that there's been the disintegration of neighbourhood policing. You've talked a great deal there about the police being seen as part of the local community. At the moment, in many communities, the dynamic is one of confrontation and adversity, and that needs to be reversed. And that's not going to be easy at all. There needs to be a restoration of neighbourhood policing, where you have effective local neighbourhood policing teams. They're able to gather on-the-ground knowledge of local criminal activity, antisocial behaviour, by engaging in good faith with residents, local civic associations, small to medium-sized businesses. Unfortunately, that model has broken down in many parts of the country. So what we've actually witnessed is the de facto decriminalisation of certain crimes. So I think that one of the main issues here is that there may be a growing number of people who entertain those thoughts of lawlessness, who believe that they may well get away with committing those crimes because they feel that policing is not as robust as it used to be, or the chances of being caught or being held to account are not as high as they were before.
And this is very important, isn't it? Because we've discussed on this programme shoplifting and the feeling that shoplifting has become a non-crime. But once people feel they can get away with shoplifting, or people think that other people are able to get away with shoplifting, then they don't worry about committing other crimes, and it creates a contempt for the law and order system.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I think that what you don't want, which I think is increasingly being the case, you have law-abiding citizens who are losing faith in the police, that public confidence in police forces across the country is on a consistently downward trajectory. And I think that that really feeds into some of the disorders that we've seen in various parts of the country, where I think that there's just a very clear disregard for the policing authority. And then I think that that is a very serious problem, and I don't think that it's going to get better anytime soon.
And the very important point that James made, I don't know if you heard the earlier interview, when he was saying that people feel that the police some things differently, so that if you look at the Sarah Everard protests, they seem to be policed in a very heavy-handed manner, whereas the Black Lives Matter protests were going on at the same point. A policeman was taking the knee, and it seemed if they liked your protest, you could get away with it. If they didn't like your protest, then you couldn't. And that's very bad for policing because of the way it undermines confidence.
Oh, no, absolutely. It undermines that principle of neutrality, which should be at the heart of policing in the UK. And I think that what that demonstrates is that there's a degree of ideological selectivity in terms of how police forces manage and approach particular protests. And I think that since we're talking about recent public disorders, I think even the language and the tone which is struck by members of the government, including the Home Secretary, when it comes to, for example, the recent riots in Southport, you can see that Yvette Cooper's language was very strong. She was very robust in terms of labelling those involved as thugs, and rightly so. But then if you saw her language in terms of the Hare Hills riots in Leeds, it was more of a conciliatory tone. It certainly was less assertive in nature, even though we had police officers attacked, police cars were flipped, and I think a double-decker bus was set ablaze. These are also forms of thuggery. So I think that members of government, they should try to be as consistent as possible when it comes to condemning various kinds of public disorder.
And there's a need for the police to understand what they're doing. I started with this extraordinary advert that's appeared on the Tube about a police officer who finds somebody with drugs, and seeing how they can understand the problem. Actually, the job of the police is to recognise it's a crime. They're not going to arrest or charge every crime that they ever come across. They will deal with it using their discretion. But the starting point is that it's a crime, not that they need to feel sympathy for the criminal.
No, that's absolutely right. Their job at the end of the day is to combat criminal activity. whether they think that, or generally that this crime is treated too robustly by the criminal justice system. Should this really be a criminal offence? That's not their job to make that judgment. Ultimately, their job is to combat criminal activity, and if people are participating in criminal activities, that they're held to account and that they're arrested.
Thank you so much, Rakib. In a moment,